I'd like to welcome you to the Coatesville Area School District School Board meeting for Tuesday, June 28, 2022. Agenda item 1B, reading of the mission statement. The mission of the Coatesville Area School District, rich in diversity and committed to excellence, is to create innovative educational experiences which are funded by the taxpayers, supported by the community, delivered by dedicated teachers and administrators to ensure all students will become responsible, contributing global citizens. Agenda item 1C, advisement. By notice of the President, board members are advised that all votes shall be regarded as roll call votes. The minutes should also note that public notice was given for this meeting in accordance with Act 93 of 1998, Section 1. School board meetings shall proceed in accordance with school board policy. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Rob Fisher.
Here.
Brandon Roan.
Mr. Roan is to be excused.
Thank you. Harvell Brown.
Here.
Holly Charest.
Here.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Here.
Becky Harlan.
Here.
Mary Ann Harris. Here. Amelia Mills.
Here.
Jennifer Schott.
Ms. Schott is to be excused as well.
Thank you.
At
Mr.
this time,
Fisher.
could everyone please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda item number 2. To my colleagues, are there any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda this evening? Any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda? Seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 3, approval of the minutes. Recommended motion that the Board of School Directors approve the minutes for May 24th, 2022 school board meeting, subject to any additions, deletions, modifications, or clarifications. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Yes.
Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Becky Harlan.
Yes.
Holly Charest.
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris.
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Harvell Brown.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Agenda item 3B, approval of the minutes. Recommended motion that the Board of School Directors approve the minutes for the June 14, 2022 special school board meeting, subject to any additions, deletions, modifications, or clarifications. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fisher, can we amend the record? I am present via Zoom, and I did say here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not hear that, Mr. Rome.
He is
Yeah,
here.
he is with
Okay,
us. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rome.
Yep.
That's great.
I'll give you a second on the motion.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Did we do the motion in second? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Becky Harlan.
Yes.
Harvell Brown.
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris.
Yes.
Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Yes.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Holly Charest.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Mr. Rowe, my apologies again. I did not hear you.
No worries, sir.
Moving on to 4A, public comment on agenda items. The board has requested all persons making comments on agenda items to list their name, address, telephone number, and motion items on the sheet provided. There is a 3-minute limit per person. The board does not take action or discuss items not appearing on the agenda. The board values public comments and wishes to convey that although board members cannot discuss items that are not on the agenda, they listen carefully and appreciate and value input from the public. Kathy Elliker.
Good evening, school board. I want to speak on the agenda item 10E, the administrative compensation plan. I am sure you've heard the expression, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. The district is going to be passing the following sections of the compensation plan for all administrators and non-certified district administrative employees. It is only fair that your teachers be compensated accordingly as well. For example, the administrative compensation plan states salary ranges shall be adjusted annually based upon the Act 1 index. It also says periodically a formal study of salaries will be conducted to ensure that the salaries remain competitive within their peer group, yet your teachers remain the lowest paid in the county. The district will also reimburse memberships to professional organizations up to a maximum of $600 per administrator per school year. These are not currently given to teachers. And as far as benefits go, while the annual deductibles the administrators will have to pay are the same as the current teacher's contract, the district will offset the cost of the annual deductibles and contribute the full funding of these HSAs each year. That's somewhere north of $75,000 for individual and $150,000 for family. And for the first time, administrators will have to pay 4% of the monthly premium share. Of course, the teachers get zero funded dollars towards our HSAs, and the deductible been proposed to increase to $400 for a family, and oh yes, a proposed increase of 15% premium share. Administrators also get long-term disability benefits, and the district pays 100% of their premium, as well as reimburse 100% of the tuition costs. These are the benefits that you may be approving for the highest paid members of the Coatesville Area School District family. So why not the same for your teachers? The ones that work face-to-face with the most vital members of the district. Or are we ganders not as good as these geese? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eliger. Lori Shannon Bailey. All right, well, it does say 3 minutes per person, but let me have the others go first, and then I'll call you back up. Lori Shannon Bailey.
I would also like to speak on the same topic. My concern as a taxpayer of over 30 years to the district is the salaries. When I look at the Director of Pupil Services, when I look at principal salaries, all of the salaries, looking at page 9 of the 22-page document, it's my understanding that all of our buildings do not have libraries, and I'm not sure of that, but I've been told that we don't have operating libraries at all of our buildings. And if that's the case, I would hope that we would change that. I would also hope that we would make sure that we have in-school suspension. I was told in this setting, I believe I asked about in-school suspension, and there were no funds for that. So I'm concerned as a taxpayer that these salaries seem to be pretty high, and we are in a low-wealth school district, and so that is a concern of mine. The other thing I wanted to touch bases on is the resolution. As a former union president, I am pleased that Ms. Ritter would have full opportunity to utilize her rights under the union contract. So I'm looking forward to the outcome of that. I was embarrassed for her in that entire situation as it happened a few months ago. And then finally, I was happy to see that we only have one adjudication tonight. I'm hopeful that whoever that child is, that child writes under special education and all of the rights that he or she has coming to him or her will be provided. I've said this over and over again. Adjudication is not the only answer, and I believe you all are failing our children. I don't believe that adjudication is the answer. And I'm looking forward to work with the community and those people that are interested to support the school district to provide restorative justice for children who need it the most. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon Bailey. Nina Ortiz.
She has asked me to speak on her behalf, if you don't mind. She wants to remind the board in terms of adjudication. She has spoken on this issue in the past through myself as her advocate. In terms of providing adjudicated students adequate and sufficient mental health services, just a reminder as you look to approve this document that I just talked about, please consider also making sure that adjudicated students provide or get the necessary mental health support and services that they need either here or wherever they would be. And many of you know that she has a situation where mental health services certainly are vital. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ortiz. Katie Hadzer.
Katie Hadzer, Salisbury Township. This evening you're deciding on whether to terminate a beloved, talented, and one-of-a-kind teacher simply because she hung a piece of art tape, not duct tape, from a student's nose to be funny and de-escalate the student's anger. The kids had the PSSAs to complete that morning, and this teacher was given the most challenging group of students in the building because she has a known gift for being able to reach them and work with them when no one else can. These are the kids who regularly get kicked out of class, the kids who others can't reach, but she can. She uses humor as a strategy. Well, her humor worked, and the angry student calmed down, was laughing, stayed in the room, and successfully completed the PSSAs, as was the goal. Sadly, the district solicitor got involved and everything changed. He brought up a number of false charges that are horrific if only they were true, but they weren't. The word tape was true, not even the kind of tape, and that's about it. You voted to accept the charges against this teacher that you knew were not true. You knew they were not true. Where is the evidence of all these hideous charges? There is none. You board members voted after you should have read the Loudermill transcript, and I say should because I know the majority of you never read it. So you didn't read the Loudermill, where everything from that day was explained and clarified. You could have called the teacher yourself to talk to her and get her clarification, but none of you did. So you voted on charges that there's no evidence of, and you're ending the career of this distinguished and extremely effective and successful teacher because the district solicitor doesn't like her, and this is known. And you are allowing him to slander her. And he is doing this simply because she's a strong union president, and that is threatening to him. You have allowed this district solicitor to grossly exaggerate the situation. You allowed him to go to the papers and the media and exploit this teacher. And why? Is it because he used the word racist in one of the charges against her and that scared the crap out of you? Now you're afraid to not accept the charges because you're afraid of the community's reaction, even though you know there is no evidence of racism. How does a teacher who has taught for over 20 years in this district and has taught a population that has been mainly minority suddenly become racist? She doesn't. Does hanging art tape off a student's nose, is that a terminatable offense? You can still do the right thing though and vote no, or even better yet, take it off the table. There are no criminal or abuse charges. You know what you're about to do tonight is wrong, and the district is most likely going to pay a financial price for your decision. Some of you got on this board because you wanted to make it better, and you're doing the same thing.
Thank you, Ms. Hadzer. Megan Williams.
Megan Williams, East Fallowfield. I'm here tonight to address the generous and expensive contract the board will be voting on for Act 93 employees of the district. 4% raises every year for 4 years, not over 4 years, every single year. The district will once again foot the bill for all medical deductibles at a cost of $1,500 for individuals and $3,000 for family. Act 93 positions have never had to pay a deductible yet, since the medical plans were changed 5 years ago. The district has covered their out-of-pocket cost every year. $234,000 for the interim superintendent. I'm not begrudging administration and other employees their excellent contract. Goodness knows how hard they work. But how can a district who consistently talks about how there is no money afford this? My bigger issue is the following. As of July 1st, the teachers will once again be without a contract. As many of you already know, I am proudly married to a teacher in Coatesville Area School District, and a damn good one too, pardon my language. As a result, some of you may be ready to dismiss me as just here arguing for his salary, but that is far from the truth. I am here to make a good noise for those who cannot speak for themselves, and I am here to talk about respect. Over the past 3 years, I have seen my husband, his colleagues, my friends who work for the district, and my daughter's own teachers here struggle. I have seen them pour their blood, sweat, and tears into their students through impossible, no-win circumstances. I have seen teachers stressed out to their breaking points, some of whom who have left the profession entirely. I have seen them put in countless extra hours trying to find ways to reach their students through a screen, and this year trying to reach them both educationally and emotionally as we recover from the pandemic. Yet instead of acknowledging and recognizing the outstanding work of your educators, you have consistently asked them to do more and more with less, time and time again. Now here the school board sits offering the moon to administrators and Act 93 employees, while effectively telling and showing your teachers that you could care less about them and the vital work they do for the Coatesville Area School District. Coatesville has about 5,500 students in our buildings, with about 2,500 more in charters. Westchester has over 11,000 students in their buildings. Yet Coatesville has more administrators than Westchester. Coatesville is listed as having approximately 71 administrators and 380 teachers. So it might be easy to argue that a teacher contract would cause yet another rise in taxes. However, according to the budget from last school year, $71 million were allotted for salaries and benefits. The teacher's portion of that was $30 million. That's 42%, less than half, for 380 people versus 71 people. In the teacher's current one-year contract, the teachers' union came up with a new salary schedule that would allow for salary movement and over 5 years save the district $2.5 million. The school board's negotiation team just rejected it. Why? At these meetings, I repeatedly hear about how one of the school board's main goals is student retention. May I finish? I'm almost done. Thank you.
Finish your statement, please.
Thank you. We also repeatedly hear that the #1 reason people keep their kids in Coatesville is because of the teachers. This certainly has been my family's experience so far. Why then would you not use the little money we do have to support and reward and keep the biggest seller our district has, its teachers? We are about to face an unprecedented national teacher shortage, the effects of which Coatesville has already begun to feel.
Thank you, please.
You have teachers
Ms.
teaching
Williams,
extra
thank you.
classes to
Thank
cover
you.
vacant positions that
Ms.
are
Elicker.
for months. Who of quality will want to come teach at Coatesville? What incentive do teachers have to stay here when they are treated with such blatant unappreciation and disrespect? This is about more than money. This is about your teachers on the front line.
Ms. Williams, you have exceeded your time. I'm going to ask you to stop, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ms. Elicker, thank you.
Good evening once again. I'd like to speak about Agenda Item 10-0, the dismissal resolution. It seems absurd that the board would even consider this resolution. The allegations that my colleague is charged with are unfounded, save one. My colleague has apologized and taken full ownership of the action that the board finds offensive. Anyone who knows my colleague, has worked with my colleague, or been taught by my colleague knows her heart is always in the right place. She exemplifies all that is good in teaching. She is the biggest proponent of Coatesville Area School District. She stands up for what is right. She has worked closely with many of you. My colleague would never offend or humiliate a student. My colleague did nothing egregious. My colleague never threatened retaliation. My colleague is not racist. There is no evidence that supports any of these allegations. I implore the board to think clearly and reflect without prejudice before approving this resolution. The district cannot afford a wrongful termination lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ellicott. Moving on to agenda item 5A, executive session. Executive sessions were held on June 13th and June 27th, 2022 for legal and personnel reasons. We'll have no student representatives report tonight. We'll move on to our superintendent's report. Dr. Dunlap.
Good evening, members of the board, our employees, and our community members. Tonight you will hear in the Human Resource Report the appointment of 2 assistant principals to the role of building principals. Catherine Lamoth will be appointed to the principal position at the 6th grade center at Scott, and Carrie Myers will be appointed the principal of Reeseville Elementary School. We will be reopening the principal position for Calne Elementary School. Dr. Saletto has taken a job in the Phoenixville Area School District, and we thank her for her service in the Coatesville Area School District. We have also posted for an assistant principal position. Kristen Del Grippo has taken a job in the Downingtown Area School District. We also thank her for her service to the Coatesville Area School District. Jeff Kolf will be appointed as the interim principal of Cache while Michelle Snyder is out, and we wish Michelle a speedy recovery. Back on June 15th, 16th, and 20th, 5 of our school board members, Mrs. George, Chief Galbraith, Mike Subject, Jamie Estrada Zarita, and I met with parents, students, and community members. We also met with local pastors on the 22nd of June. On each of those nights, we presented our current discipline code of conduct. We informed them on the due process afforded to students who violate the discipline code of conduct, the services we currently provide our students and families in regards to support services. We also discussed what we are planning to add to our support services for families and students. We discussed what current safety and security measures we have in place and what we are going to do to increase safety and security measures for next year. We dialogued with those in attendance and we listened. Each night after the first night, we started to incorporate some of the suggestions from the community into each of the presentations. As a result of those meetings, we will continue to communicate with staff and the community on our plans moving forward. We will be addressing and sharing this information that we shared at these meetings, and we will also be gathering the input from CATA at our next liaison meeting. We'll be creating a district communication that explains the entire due process, which will explain the rights of students who violate the discipline code of conduct. This communication will be online for anyone to view. It will also be presented by the building principals prior to the start of school in August. Building principals will be sending out dates for these parent meetings, which will start in the month of August. These meetings will also give the students and parents a chance to ask questions and gain a better understanding of the expectations and school rules. In our discussions this past month, we addressed the student code of conduct with our discipline matrix for the elementary and secondary schools. We will be bringing our code of conduct and our discipline matrix before the board in July for its annual approval. We plan on taking a deeper look into our student code of conduct throughout the course of the 2022-2023 school year. In the meantime, prior to final board approval of the student code of conduct, we'll be having some community meetings to discuss the student code of conduct and the discipline matrix. These meetings will take place July 14th and July 20th, 7 p.m. here in the Cache Auditorium. We will send out a school messenger communication to the community, and we will make sure that this information gets posted on our website. Since the student code of conduct is contained in the discipline matrix, we will be posting this matrix on our website and asking people to read through the matrix prior to the meetings on the 14th and 20th. We will also be looking at the document and discussing the document with those in attendance. We will share the results of those meetings with the board on the 26th of July. If there are some things that we can adjust, we will see what we can do for this year. As I said earlier, we will be reviewing our student code of conduct in more detail throughout the next school year. The goal for reviewing our student code of conduct in more detail will be to better align the code of conduct with the mindset that will foster a more positive school climate and culture. The Coatesville Area School District defines school climate as the quality and character of school life related to relationships, teaching and learning, physical environment, and safety. Positive relationships are critical for creating a positive school climate. School leaders set the tone and expectations for the entire school community, paving the way for all members of this community to take a simple yet meaningful set of steps to improve school climate. It's necessary for us to adopt a culturally responsive practice for student expectations that is supported and implemented by parents, teachers, and administrators. On July 12th, during the Operations Committee meeting, we will be presenting a draft of the Master Facilities Plan to the board and the community. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Dunlap. Moving on to Agenda Item 7B, important dates. July 12, 2022, 6 o'clock p.m., all committees in special meeting, Coatesville Area Senior High School Auditorium. July 26, 2022, 7 o'clock p.m., school board meeting, Coatesville Area Senior High School Auditorium. And we have no special reports tonight, Dr. Dunlap, correct?
That's correct.
Moving on to Agenda Item 9A, Adoption of Consent Agenda. Recommended motion that the Board of School Directors approve the consent agenda items. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Committee meeting action items considered routine will be enacted under one motion unless removed for separate action upon board request. The purpose of the consolidated motion is to expedite governing board action on all consent items which are not held for discussion. Items that have been held for discussion by the governing board will be enacted upon at the time the item is discussed. This evening, I would like to remove the following agenda items from consent agenda. Starting with number 10, Finance Committee. We will remove Agenda Item A, Financial Statements. Agenda Item C, Appointment of Interim Superintendent Richard F. Dunlap, Jr. Letter G, Lerda, Cowan Township. Letter H, Sale of Property to the Chester County School Authority. Letter O, Dismissal Resolution. Letter P, Human Resources Report. And letter Q, Human Resources Report Addendum. So once again, those are items A, E, C, G, H, O, P, and Q. Moving on to agenda item number 11, Education. I would like to remove from consent agenda, agenda item L, Proposed Adjudication. Are there any other items to be removed from consent agenda this evening?
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
May I request that we remove under number 10, Finance Committee, if we can remove letter E for Administrative Compensation Plan and do roll call vote for that too, please?
Yeah, I believe did I miss that? Yeah, I believe I mentioned that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yep. Any others? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Polly Charest,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Marvell Brown,
Yes.
Andrew Finkbeiner,
Yes.
Brandon Roan,
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris,
Yes.
Amelia Mills,
Yes.
Becky Harlan.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Chairman Finkbeiner, Finance Committee.
Thank you. Letter A, Financial Statements. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the financial statements, bills, payables list as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Andrew Finkbeiner,
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris,
Yes.
Brandon Roan,
Yes.
Harvell Brown,
Yes.
Becky Harlan,
Abstain.
Holly Charess,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Amelia Mills,
Yes.
motion approved.
Letter C, appointment of interim superintendent Richard F. Dunlap, Jr. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the resolution authorizing the appointment of Richard F. Dunlap, Jr. as interim superintendent of the Coatesville Area School District through CREST at a rate of $900 per day effective July 1st, 2022, as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? See none, we'll call for a vote.
Mary Ann Harris,
Yes.
Becky Harlan,
Yes.
Amelia Mills,
Yes.
Andrew Finkbeiner,
Yes.
Harvell Brown,
Yes.
Holly Charess,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Brandon Roan,
Yes.
motion approved.
Letter E, Administrative Compensation Plan 2022 through 2026. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the Administrative Compensation Plan. The current plan expires on June 30th, 2022. The new compensation plan will be effective July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2026, as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Brandon Roan,
Yes.
Becky Harlan,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Abstain.
Andrew Finkbeiner,
Yes.
Harvell Brown,
Yes.
Amelia Mills,
Yes.
Holly Charess,
No.
Mary Ann Harris,
Yes.
motion approved.
Letter G, LERTA Cowan Township. Recommended action pending legal review that the Board of School Directors approve the 5-year Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistant Act, LERTA, resolution with Cowan Township for new construction property improvements in specific targeted areas in TV1 Thorndale Village, C1 Highway Commercial, and I1 Industrial, and excluding residential areas as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Amelia Mills,
Yes.
Holly Charess,
Yes.
Becky Harlan,
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Brandon Roan,
Yes.
Andrew Finkbeiner,
Yes.
Harvell Brown,
Yes.
motion approved.
Letter H, sale of property to Chester County School Authority. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the resolution to sell a parcel of real estate approximately 1 acre in size to the Chester County School Authority at a minimum of $95,000 plus all costs and expenses incurred by the school district in the transaction, including legal fees and court costs, and approval by the Court of Common Pleas of Chester County in accordance with Section 707 of the School Code as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Amelia Mills,
Yes.
Holly Charess,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Andrew Finkbeiner,
Yes.
Becky Harlan,
Yes.
Harvell Brown,
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris,
Yes.
Brandon Roan,
Yes.
motion approved.
Letter O, dismissal resolution. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the dismissal resolution for Audra Ritter, teacher at North Brandywine Middle School, as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
We'll call for a vote.
Harvell Brown,
Yes.
Andrew Finkbeiner,
Yes.
Amelia Mills,
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris,
Yes.
Brandon Roan,
Yes.
Becky Harlan,
Yes.
Holly Charess,
No.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
motion approved.
Letter P, Human Resources Report. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the resignations, appointments, new positions, leave of absence, transfer, change of status, and corrections as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. Finkbeiner, if I may, please, it is with regret that the Board of School Directors accepts retirements this evening. I would like to draw attention to Agenda Item C, CATS number 1, Kathleen Spangler. Mrs. Spangler has been a longtime secretary here on campus, and it is with regret, again, as I said, that we accept her retirement this evening. And you will have to look long and hard to find somebody who is more supportive of the Coatesville School District and the Coatesville Red Raiders than Ms. Spangler. But I'm sure it's not goodbye. I'm sure it's see you later, because I'm sure we'll see Ms. Spangler at many sporting events in the future. So Ms. Spangler, we wish you well, and we wish you a happy and healthy and long retirement. I would also like to bring attention to agenda item number 1, Federation, subtitle number 1, Mark Ammon. Mr. Ammon is a tradesman and has been a tradesman for a long time with the school district. I've had the pleasure of working with Mr. Ammon over the years, and he is a very respected and accomplished carpenter, and he will be missed. But Mr. Ammon, we wish you the best of luck, and we also wish you many hours of fishing and hunting in the future. And last but not least, I'd call your attention to agenda item E, non-cert, number 2, Lori Dunlap. Lori Dunlap is retiring from our business office after many years of service, and we would like to wish Ms. Dunlap the best in her retirement as well. So on behalf of the board, with regret, we will accept those retirements this evening. Thank you, Mr. Finkbonner.
We'll call for a vote.
Brandon Roan,
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Becky Harlan,
Yes.
Holly Charess,
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris,
Yes.
Harvell Brown,
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Letter Q, Human Resources Report Addendum. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the resignations, appointments, new positions, leave of absence, transfers, change of status, and corrections as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Becky Harlan,
Yes.
Harvell Brown, Amelia Mills,
Yes.
Holly Charess,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner,
Yes.
Brandon Roan,
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Ms. Mills, agenda item L, please.
Proposed adjudication, student 100-14384. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the proposed student adjudication for student 100-14384 as presented. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Becky Harlan,
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris,
Yes.
Harvell Brown,
Yes.
Holly Charess,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner,
Yes.
Brandon Roan,
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Motion approved.
And I believe that covers all the agenda items removed from consent agenda. Moving on to agenda item 14A, public comment. The board has requested that all persons making comments of public concern to list their name, address, telephone number, and topics on the sheet provided. There is a 3-minute time limit per person. Kathy Ellicott.
Good evening. Mike DeHout and Scott Polk are also going to add their names. The paper was gone when they arrived for post, so they'll be right after me, because this is pretty lengthy. This is not about Audra Ritter. This letter is about our district, the district we love, the district we take pride in. Over the past years, you've seen what has happened to our district. You watched as other school boards raised taxes, cut position, and praised the superintendents for excellence. You watched a mass exodus of our students and teachers, a decline in our test scores, and our buildings fall into disrepair. You joined community groups in an effort to bring positive change to our district, vowing that if you were on the school board, things would be different. You are now on the school board. Yes, you got rid of the superintendent who caused so much damage. However, it took a long time, and that person was paid full salary for a year with 2 years of fully paid benefits and a letter of recommendation. Some of you, as school board members, met with teachers in a mass group, hearing for yourself about the hostile working conditions, the problems with discipline, the problems with curriculum, and the problems with administrators who still have the philosophy of the last regime. Nothing changed. Nothing was done differently. Some of you witnessed the unprofessional behavior of our district's solicitor, yet sat in silence. Some of you vowed that that same solicitor would not be part of the negotiations yet. Who is the chief negotiator for the district with the CATA contract? Some of you were victims of the past regime's bullying and intimidation, yet when put in a position to stop it, you did nothing. As it continues with our solicitor, you sit in silence and continue to allow it to go on. The solicitor works for you. Attitudes reflect leadership. The solicitor's actions reflect your leadership. At almost every board meeting, finance committee meeting, and special board meeting, the community and staff hear about the financial distress of the district. We see slide after slide of how we have the finances. We do not have the finance to do all the things we want to and need to be done. Yet, at one point, we were paying 3 superintendents, 2 special ed pupil services directors, and 2 chief financial officers. At the board meeting tonight, the board voted to approve the administration agreement giving administrators a 4% raise for 4 years while still paying 100% tuition reimbursement and fully funding the high deductible plan. Yes, they will pay 4% of the premium share, but that is much less than what was proposed for the Teachers Association, and administrators will get a higher raise.
Gentlemen, I have one other person that signed up, and then I'll
Okay.
get to you, okay? Thank you. Katie Hadzer. Mr. DeHaan and Mr. Polk, before you leave, I'll need you to sign the
Yes, sir.
sheet too, please.
For the third time in a row, the teachers will be in a status quo. The teachers agreed to a 1-year deal on your team's word that you would do everything you could to have a contract settled by June 30th, 2022. We believed you. We believed you when you gave your word that our salary scale would be used for future contracts, as it benefits both the district and the association. Yet, here we sit, no closer than we were in January. We have not met more than 1 time a month since then. You all have said how much you value and appreciate the teachers. Show it. Your words are empty. You have not kept your word on anything. Some of you at this point are angry and have made many comments that you would like to make or have decided that this is not worth your time. But if you truly think about all of this, you know that it's all true. CADA has worked with you as a board, has worked with administration, has accommodated when needed, and has in good faith worked with the district in all aspects. Yet, when we bring up the concerns, we are told, we talk to teachers, and that's not how they feel. Or, we have not heard this in any exit interviews. We know what's going on, and believe us, we are working to correct it. Some of you even go as far as blaming teachers and or CADA leadership for some of the issues in the district. If you need a place to blame, you need to look in the mirror. You have the power to make real changes. Suggestions have been given to you by teachers, and yet nothing else has changed. Here are some of the things that have been asked. Treat teachers as professionals. Yes, there will be some that will need to be talked to, even reprimanded, but those are few and far between. Student discipline is at the top of the teacher's list of concerns. CADA has suggested to Dr. Tashner, Mr. Hanna, Dr. Dunlap, to have an in-house 45-day type program where the kids who consistently break the rules go to one room all day with their assigned work from their regular classes, and have some type of MTSS strategies, such as the 7 habits as their special. Once they are not failing any classes and have shown that they can follow the rules, they can go back to their regular classes. Cassandra Jones knows of this and has actually stated in liaison that they have this type of program in York, and it's made a big difference.
Thank you, Mr. DeHaan.
Follow the code of conduct. equitably and consistently from kindergarten to 12th grade. Be honest about our district and what we need. What can we do, and what should we do? The right decision is not always the popular decision and doesn't always make us look good, but we have to live with our conscience long after we live with others' opinions of us. Be more open to making changes in our district and how we do things. We are doing the same things that we have always done, thinking it will be different if we name it something else or present it differently. An example of this is PBIS. We've been doing this for 10 years, yet we cannot get it off and running consistently. Try something new. How about consequences? We keep saying the suspension is not the answer, but we don't have an alternative. Honestly, suspension is the answer for the other 25 kids in the class who are trying to learn and cannot when the one or two consistently disrupt. MTSS is great in theory, and if the district has enough staff, it works great, but we are not there yet. We don't have enough teachers to supervise the hallways. In fact, we didn't even have enough teachers this past year to cover all classes. How many times did we have to go virtual for this exact reason? Our teachers need training, good comprehensive training in special education, behavior management, mental health. Not training during a faculty meeting time or with a long PowerPoint, actual hands-on training that is practical and can be applied in the classrooms in our district. You were told we have trainings, but getting a PowerPoint to read or being told that all the information is on Canvas is not training. You have the power to do the right thing. For the sake of our students and our community, please do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Polk. Moving on to agenda item 17, adjournment. At this time, I will accept a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
We will adjourn at 7:47.